It was 2 in the morning when I saw someone sneaking around in my yard wearing spotted pajamas like a cheetah and a light on their head holding a can of bright green paint. I rubbed my eyes thinking I was dreaming. But there she was, Lydia Harper. Our brand new HOA boss lady crouched by my fence like a sneaky thief, mumbling about property lines and taking back shared land. She painted an ugly X on my wooden fence post, pulled out a measuring tape and started reading HOA rules like she was casting magic spells. I turned on the bright lights that come on when something moves, that I put up after raccoons got into my garden and Lydia stopped moving her eyes big like she got caught robbing a bank. My camera recorded every second of her scared, frozen look. That's when I knew this wasn't just another mean note stuck to my door. This was her starting a fight, and if Lydia wanted to fight over my fence, I'd make sure she'd be sorry she ever walked on my land. 3 days before this, everything was peaceful. I was on my deck, coffee in one hand, finishing plans for a backyard plant house I'd just sent to the county. My wife Emily was reading a yard decorating article out loud, her voice mixing with the morning wind. We bought this 5-acre house 3 years ago because it was quiet, just far enough from the crazy city rules, but close enough for working from home. The fence, made of strong wood 6 feet high next to Emily's growing rose bushes, was 10 years old and never caused problems. That changed when Lydia moved into the neighborhood. I first met her when she was yelling at a delivery guy for parking too close to her mailbox. She said hello by shoving a clipboard at me, asking me to sign a paper to ban ugly wind chimes. I said, no. From that day on, I was called a troublemaker on the neighborhood's computer chat group. Lydia had something to say about everything. Your deck paint, your grass height, even your mailbox look, but I never thought she'd go after my fence. It started with a bright pink paper stuck on my mailbox saying my fence broke HOA Rule 5. 2C, a rule that wasn't there when we moved in. The complaint blocking a shared walkway, I looked at the water drain area behind my house. Nothing but weeds and trees. No walkway, no trail, no anything. The next day, Lydia marched over wearing a big floppy sun hat like she was in charge of digging up old stuff. She waved a folder and told me to tear down the fence in 72 hours to bring back neighborhood flow. I laughed. She didn't. She said the fence messed up community friendship and mentioned mystery, complaints. When I asked who she snapped, that's a secret. She even showed a map with a pretend trail from an old neighborhood plan from 10 years ago. I called her a liar, pointing out the drain area was never cleared or legally made. Emily, leaning on the porch, asked if Lydia even knew what a drain easement was. Lydia huffed, I know lots, and stomped off. We thought that was done, but then came tons of papers, fake bills, and a work order from a worker hired to knock down my fence. I showed him my house paperwork and a court order I was filing, and he left confused. Lydia showed up. 2 hours later, hands on hips, giving one last chance to do what she said. That's when I saw her secret plan labeled Pretty Trail Step 1, cutting right through my vegetable garden. She wasn't just after my fence, she wanted my land. That's when it hit. Me, I wouldn't just stop her. I'd turn things around so hard she'd lose the way to her own driveway, because what Lydia didn't know was that the only road to her house went through a piece of land I legally owned. She had no clue about the trouble. Coming her way, I barely slept that night watching the video of Lydia messing up my fence like a street art criminal. Emily tried to make things lighter, joking that HOA meant harass our land, but we were both too mad. The next morning, I went to the county records building, getting every map, deed, and zoning paper about our land. Back home, I spread them on the dining table like a battle plan. That's when I found it. A skinny piece of land along our north side, including the neighborhood's road, was mine. The road built years ago was thought to be public, but its permission expired in 2013 and was never made new again. Lydia's house needed my land to get to the street. Emily smiled. So you could really block her? I nodded. Not yet. First we dig deeper. Emily looked through legal websites and found treasure. Lydia had asked for a permit for a community exercise trail using her made-up acting president title, faking my approval with a pretend signature. We took the proof to the county zoning office where a worker marked it as cheating, noting Lydia's HOA had a history of going too far. Back home, we wrote a stop-it letter sending copies to the HOA board, including the old president who still got the email chain. Quiet followed. Until Mark, a board member, said sorry, admitting he hadn't known about Lydia's solo votes. An emergency HOA meeting was planned and Lydia's power started to break. The meeting held in the dusty community clubhouse was packed with people standing. Lydia came late dressed like she was trying out for a business TV show and started a speech about togetherness and house values. She showed a map with her trail cutting through my yard. I stood calm but strong and told the truth. The fake permits. The spray paint video. The expired permission I passed around pictures of Lydia's midnight adventure. Shocked sounds went through the crowd. Mark asked if she'd held votes without the board. She stumbled, claiming emergency powers. He pushed. Who said, "There was an emergency." She had nothing. Then I dropped the big news. "The road to your house. It's on my land. I can put a gate on it as private farm access." The room went completely quiet. Lydia turned pale, realizing her house's worth and her life depended on my kindness. She stormed out. The board stopped her trail plans for good. I thought it was over, but Lydia wasn't finished. She told lies to neighbors saying I was hurting the community. Then a survey crew came sent by Lydia to take back HOA land. Emily stopped them, and I called Deputy Ramirez, who came with flashing lights. Lydia showed up screaming about being picked on, but Ramirez showed her my deed and warned her about trespassing charges. She called Emily a legal snake before sneaking off her stair, promising more trouble. That's when I decided to fight back. I walked my land's north strip, the gravel road Lydia used like her personal highway. It was mine, and I'd make sure. She felt it. I hired a worker to fix it into a gated work road for a planned fruit tree area. Permits were already filed. Everything legal. When work started, Lydia ran out yelling about street access. I smiled. Private road. Lydia just making it better. She said I was getting revenge. I shrugged. Don't fake documents next time. The crew built a raised path, added wire boxes, and put in a steel gate with a number pad. A sign read, "Turner's Trail Private Farm Access." Emily picked the name, saying it fit. Since Lydia tried to stomp on our lives, the gate's finishing was amazing. Lydia called Sheriff Dawson, an old friend who looked at my permits, agreed, then told her to take it up with the county. She screamed about costs. Dawson shrugged. Don't build. On other people's land, Lydia's big car now took a 10-minute long way through a bumpy repair trail, kicking up dirt daily. Emily and I watched from our porch, drinking coffee, enjoying the quiet payback neighbors noticed. Tom, a retired car fixer, laughed, calling the long way Lydia's loop word spread of Lydia's tricks, and her power disappeared. She sent a letter begging to use Turner's Trail, offering to cancel her trail plan for peace. Emily laughed. That's not saying sorry, that's being desperate. I replied no. Lydia tried getting the board together, but Mark told about her $5,000 wrong use of HOA money, starting a money check. Her board job was being looked at. Then came her last try, a court case filed by a fancy lawyer, Vince Cololton, saying I was blocking community roads and causing hurt feelings. The complaint was silly, with fake photos saying my fence was on HOA land. Emily tore it apart, filing a fight-back case with our pile of proof. In court, Judge Callahan, a no-nonsense ex-cop, let Colton talk before stopping him. Is this law or a TV drama? Emily showed our case land records videos, fake permits, leaving no room for questions. Callahan ruled against Lydia, ordering her to pay our bills and warning of criminal charges if she kept going. Her case was thrown out with prejudice. Back home, the HOA fell apart. At a packed meeting, Mark read Lydia's quitting letter saying personal healing. The crowd cheered. People shared stories of Lydia's mean rule, fines for flower pots, threats over patio furniture. They asked me to join the board. I said no, but smiled as Emily whispered, maybe as a helper. That night under the stars, Turner's Trail glowed with new sunlights, a symbol of our fight. But Lydia had one last trick. Past midnight, my phone buzzed, movement alert. There she was on camera, hood up, wire cutters in hand, looking at the gate. A bright light came on and Emily's recorded voice yelled, "You are trespassing." Police told Lydia ran away, tripping through wild flowers. I sent the video to Mark. By evening, the HOA took away Lydia's membership, fined her, and banned her from leadership. A week later, her house was for sale, lying about access to Turner's Trail. I called the house seller, corrected the lie, and the ad changed. taking away. Her last bit of believability. Neighbors thanked us, some with cookies, others with ideas for a community garden along Turner's Trail. Public, but not on my land. Then Lydia made her final move, a film crew recording her sad story at my gate, calling it a wall of meanness. I filmed her from my porch and put it online, titled Lydia's Last Act. It became popular locally, with neighbors joking about Emmys. She didn't answer. Weeks later, a moving truck took Lydia away. No goodbyes, no big show, Emily. And I watched from the porch as her truck rattled down the long way. Turner's Trail became a neighborhood gym lined with lights and a bench carved, "Peace grows here." The HOA rewrote its rules, requiring votes for all decisions. We had a picnic on the trail, kids playing music, floating, neighbors laughing without fear of fines. Emily squeezed my arm. "Started with a fence," she said. I nodded. "Ended with a road." The quiet wasn't just silence, it was freedom. Hard-won and strongly protected. Turner's Trail wasn't just a path, it was proof that no one, not even a self-made HOA queen, could stomp on property lines without a